dimensional, unquestionable, love and inspirational. Got a category, my own, and I'm the president. Don't be alarmed, but I'm sewing up the resident with my particular style particular, extracurricular, smoother and chippier. Throwing words like a throw blackjack. You're a chicken McNugget.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Our Own Thing podcast. The platform urban fiction authors and readers call home. Quarterbacking this thing, of course, it's your player partner, Ced Green. And I'm coming to you live and direct from the Gump Town, Montgomery, Alabama. And before we get into today's show, I'm still in need of support from my urban fiction community, man. Y'all already know what it is. It's totally free. Won't cost you a dime. So y'all take a few seconds now to hit them like, share, comment, and subscribe buttons for your partner. Help us reach more authors and readers. Thanks in advance. And I truly appreciate it. But let's get into today's episode though. Who do we have coming through this week? Today we got an author out of Macon, Georgia. He's a husband, a father, tax specialist, songwriter, poet. And we have him here today to discuss his latest novel, High Tide, Part 2, Blood in the Water. So without further ado, y'all give it up for Don Watts. What's happening with you, partner? Thanks for coming through the fuck with me.
Hey man, you know I gotta support me. I gotta support, man. You support me, I support you, and that's the main goal. Is just trying to build a network and get the light on more urban authors who are also trying to do this thing independently and of their own dime and of their own back and everything. So I salute you in your process and how you trying to bring together the community as well. So.
I respect that. I tell all my guests, why this platform was created, and that was to bring some notoriety to the art form and, all these creatives, the ones who play a role in helping that final manuscript reach the finish line. We're providing a relaxed space where y'all can come through, connect with your peoples, and let them know what you got going on and what they could be expecting in the future. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't gonna hold you. The people, they want to hear from you. Introduce yourself to the viewers. Let them know your story and what you plan to accomplish in this industry.
Well, as you know, my name is Don Watts, and I've been writing, for a long time. It started off with, the short stories in school and everything like that. And then it kind of evolved into actually getting into actual reading. A lot of books by, Tom Clancy, Donald Goins, John Grisham, and just getting lost in the book and being, don't want to put the book down, but then you have the other stuff that life goes on behind, so you do have to do that. So I wanted to create that feeling of not wanting to put a book down or not wanting to wait to find out what happened to this character, and maybe even creating more characters that are regular people can kind of relate to and see themselves in.
Word, I can dig that. Say you on that Donna Goins. You was on that Donna Goins too.
Yeah.
I can dig it. Hey, this the segment of the show, where we do ask, some questions to get your readers and the viewers an in-depth look into the minds of the authors who create these novels that we love so much. You feel me? Here's the first question right here. How did writing your first book change your writing process?
Well, after writing my first book, I got into being more conscious of how I want my characters to be, displayed, and also just being more mindful of creating a environment in the story that it tells the story itself, like maybe describing the town, maybe describing a certain scene, and being more open to getting feedback also, because that's the big thing. Not all your feedback is going to be, positive, and you have to take that, the good and the bad, and take that and put that into your writing, because these are the people that your customers pretty much. And if you're not listening to your customers, then you pretty much going to eventually fall by the wayside.
True. What made you decide to turn this book into a series?
just being, from my point, from being also a reader, being like, okay, the story has the potential to grow legs and um, be to have even more depth and even more opportunities for certain characters to get a spin-off or hey, I like the way the story is going with this character. Let me go ahead and let's add this little bit in. Let's add let's give the people more of a background on certain characters because a lot of times you'll read a book and you're like, oh man, that's how I ended. Well, what about what about this character? What about this situation? So just being able to have a full spectrum of an arc, pretty much from the beginning to the middle to the end. Sometimes you just can't put all that into one book.
I got you. Yeah. Can we be expecting a trilogy?
Oh yes, sir. It's in the works now.
So it's on the way, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been writing, and when did you start?
Like I said earlier, I've been writing since I say probably grade school. With me being like I have an older sister, but we're like 7 years apart. So basically, I was like a only child. So a lot of time I spent writing in journals and like I say, writing short stories or writing little small poems just for getting a grade in class and then being like, oh, you people say, oh man, you actually got talent and I have a good imagination. So the only problem with that sometimes is I can kind of get carried away with that. So I got to kind of rein myself in sometimes, and
Right.
That's a good thing to do. Is also is know when to end a story or when to move on from a certain topic in the story.
Right. Okay. How do you come up with the material you're writing about?
I watch a lot of TV shows, so a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the cliffhangers, like the one now. Everybody's talking about Nemesis. I don't know if you've seen Nemesis or not, but it's the very end is like, okay, this guy is chasing this guy, and he gets to the point where he's about to catch him, and then something happens to his son. So now he has to make a choice. Do I save the son or do I save the guy I've been chasing? And then it kind of ends like right there, and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, like no,
Uh,
wait. So, so just being able to, get and even like, my wife, she listens to a lot of audio books, right? So, man, all these characters is like, and there's wrong with if you want, to have the dream of being, saying the big crime dog or the person who can, go and sell drugs and do all this stuff. But it's like there's other avenues of, being, a successful black man, and not to say not knocking that because that is a big market in the audiobook realm or the urban book realm, but just trying to show a different side of of the prototypical male lead character.
right. Right. It's black men doing other type of things besides just selling dope. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's other avenues. I feel. Do you plan each phase of your writing process before you start, or do you let the story take control and follow its own path?
Yeah, I kind of let the story, follow its own path, but then I also got to be careful. Like I said, I'll go off on a tangent, and and we'll be 4 or 5 chapters in, and then be like, oh wait, hold on, let's go back and kind of reel this in a little bit, and I also have to resist the urge of having all my stories kind of interconnected, and not getting too kind of well I can introduce this character and then have them relate to this character and then have another story about him and this story, and then you got. But then if you're doing that, you got to remember how each connection is kind of made, and you don't want to kind of introduce a character and have people get to know that character just having to be like a side character.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta, want to make sure that that you that your characters, or if you are going to intertwine them, that you do have a reason for intertwining them, and that you can create a backstory for that. So with certain characters in the book, they'll have a standalone story that's coming afterwards, so that you get introduced to these characters. Then later on, you find out, okay, well, this is how this character became the way he is, this story, this shaped his outcome or this shaped his outlook on life.
Which of the characters in your book are most similar to you or the people you know?
I think there's a little bit of familiarity in each character. Uh, you have the main character, which is he's a lawyer, and he's from a small town where it's pretty much ran by corruption. But he's one of the few people that kind of stands on his morals and doesn't bow down to the corruption. And then you have his cousin, which is a vigilante. So you have the kind of Martin and Malcolm kind of vibe going on. You have somebody who's really not. He uses more the legal system and his connections in the legal system, and then when that doesn't work, his cousin comes on and works outside the legal system and gets things done.
So could get things done.
Yeah, he go the other route.
I got you. What made you want to tell this particular story?
Just going back to my other answer to where I said where a lot of the books that I hear my wife listen to or read, it's the big gang, and they can do no wrong. There's no laws that's running the city. They kind of pretty much can run wild and have no consequences. And it's like, that's cool and everything, but in real life, there's consequences, or there's other people that are allowing you to do these things. And when they feel like, okay, well, this person's doing too much, now it's time for us to step in. And or you have the person that just I don't want to say like an average Joe, but he has an average life, but he just doesn't allow certain things to change his direction or change his will or change his mindset. And he does it, like I said, he does it the legal, I guess we'll call it the legal way, through the courts and through his connections. Just allowing and just drawing on my legal drama history as far as John Grisham, and pulling things from Tom Clancy, and just wanting to have that kind of legal drama going on.
Yeah, old John Grisham. With the first book, what he had, The Partners. That's the first book I read by him, The Partners. That kind of pulled me in on John Grisham. Then a lot of his books take place Mississippi. He be South Alabama. Did you always want to be an author? If not, what did you want to be growing up?
No, I didn't always want to be an author. I did want to, play sports. I was, being, you be out there by yourself with the basketball, counting down, you got the last shot, trying to make it go in. I did try for football, but somehow my brains and my height and weight didn't catch up with my brain. So I took I seen a couple practices, and I was like, yeah, this ain't going.
I got you. I see you're a big Bulldog fan.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Okay, Falcons.
Yeah.
Everything over there in Georgia. You ready?
Everything over there except for the Hawks. Now I'm a Spurs fan, so that's
you like the Spurs?
Yeah, that's the only time, because I lived in San Antonio for about like 10 years, so I was there for pretty much all Duncan and Tom and the championship with Duncan and all them. I was there for all that, so I kind of grew up on the team that's not as flashy, but they get the job done. You know what I'm saying? They'll keep a low profile, but if you mess with them, they'll put it on you.
Oh yeah. What you think they gonna do? They down one.
Man, this series, like, you see certain games where they showing the flash of the potential, but then you see the immaturity of being so young.
Yeah, the
and
inexperience.
they kind of, the pressure's kind of getting to them, and it's like, either they can like, I wouldn't even consider this season like a failure, because they did way more than what they were expected to do. It's just they still have a ways to go as far as being able to play as a team, and just like with Stephon Castle, the turnovers, but they like I said, he's young. All of them are like 21, 22 years old, so they still got time to grow.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see what they do tomorrow. I want to see it go 7, but we'll see.
Well, it depends on what reps they are doing. Because some of them players is like you can like they like it's like what the Cat Williams said. We can see you, right? We look at you. You see the ball go up the man's foot. His big size 13 shoe. We don't see that. And then it's just like, and then I mean I don't care about their physicality. I understand that, but it's like when it goes overboard, it's like. Because like with Man Hartenstein, it's like he had a whole montage of clips of him holding and doing all this. Like when they both holding, that's cool. I understand that. But if you gotta hold somebody from getting a lob or a rebound, and it's clear as day,
gotta blow the whistle, man.
Yeah, blow the whistle.
Yeah.
It is what it is. That's why I don't play it. That's why I don't coach.
Ain't no doubt. What other hobbies do you have outside of writing?
I used to read a lot. But then, life started happening. So, other than that, it's pretty much all writing inclusive. Like, if it's not writing a song, maybe writing a poem or just, and also, I'm a big Xbox fan. So, I played 2K26, Call of Duty, The Division. So I'm a big nerd at heart, pretty much.
Does writing exhaust or energize you?
It depends. It can, like, if I'm really like I got something on my chest that I need to get out, then it's kind of relieving for me to get it out on paper. But then sometimes if I'm really excited about something and I write, it can be exhausting because then I just won't stop. It just I have to actually okay, hey bro, come on back now. You're going way out there. You gotta come on back. So and like I said, at certain points it's almost like a release valve, and then other times it's like a spigot that's kind of out of control. You got to kind of turn it down a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like if when it's flowing though, you know what I'm saying, you don't really want to turn that thing off when it's flowing, you feel me?
Yeah.
But if it's like you say, if you going a little far out there, you might need to take a little break, let your mind clear up and get back at that thing again. What's the most difficult thing about writing characters of the opposite sex?
It's really not difficult. I kind of base it off of, females that are in my life. If I have like a mom character, kind of base it off, my mom, or even I even put like some of my family members, their name in there, so it kind of, allows me to draw off of, that inspiration and, just different, people that I know in my life, like aunties or cousins or something like that. So I kind of draw inspiration from the people around me most of the time.
How they be feeling when they see their name in the book? How that make them feel?
It depends on what kind of character. Because like I said, that's the problem with if you friends with somebody that's a writer, if you make them mad, then the book come out, you might be like an evil character or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you may have maybe 1 or 2 words in the whole thing. So.
Yeah. I got you. What to you are the most important elements of good writing?
Being able to have people drawn to a character and want to, be or find out more about that character, and just finding ways to make your story, even your whole story, more relatable, depending on what topic it is. And just wanting to have that somebody be like, hey, that character that you wrote about, that's my favorite character, or hey, what about is it going to be a part 2 for this character, or is this person going to get his own spinoff? So that kind of excites me.
Are there any characters in this book that you planning on writing a spinoff about?
Oh yeah, I got matter of fact, the cousin. He got a whole,
Cuz
whole
get his own
backstory.
book.
Yeah, he got a whole backstory.
Yeah. Yeah, Cuz might be the right one. You right. Cuz might be the right one. If you could invite any 3 people for dinner, who would you invite?
I'd say Malcolm X,
Malcolm.
Martin Luther King,
Okay.
and it's this black. I guess he's a mogul because he's been buying like a lot of networks.
Oh, you talking about Byron Allen?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Byron
yes,
Allen.
yes.
Yeah.
Because like you don't hear a lot about him, but you know every once in a while, but he buys Paramount or he bought
He just bought
I think he bought
some that we
I think he
that
bought
we
like a
know. I
whole
can't remember the name of, but it's something we
either the
know, a
Weather
network
Channel.
we know.
Yeah, it was like a news channel. You know, he turned it into like the black I forgot what it was, but yeah, man, just trying
See,
to.
he had won a lawsuit not too long ago, like what Viacom, them big networks, they was colluding against him. You feel me? So he ended up getting some bread. I remember Byron Allen from back in the day. He used to have talk shows and shit. I think he
Yeah,
did a little comedy too, if I ain't mistaken. I think he was a stand-up comic too.
I think so. Yeah, either he had a show with
Yeah.
the comics on it, or he might. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I was just trying to picking his brain and figure out how, or him or the it's another guy that he be on the Breakfast Club a lot. Love, I forgot his name. It's the black dude, but I forgot. I think his last name is Brian.
Oh, John Hope Bryan. He
Yes,
dealing with
yes,
the real estate.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. 'Cause that's a lot. That's the thing. If you can get in that game and actually do something in that game, then that's a game changer right there.
Ain't no doubt. All right, this is the last question too, Don. What does the words literary success means to you?
Just being, having the very first person that reached out and was like, "I like your book. This was a good story. Keep going." That because, like I said, like I said, the writing part. Actually, the writing part is the easiest part. When you
Uh,
come down to having to, market it and engage, and the first couple of weeks, because I swear to God, when I first did my book, I was going to be on, the New York bestsellers list the next week. So I was just waiting, put out there, and I'm waiting for all of the confetti to drop, and everybody in the world was like, "Oh my God, he's a great writer. We need to get more stuff from him," and let's turn this book into a movie script. And then when you don't get that, it kind of hits you like, "Whoa, man, hold on, you know maybe I didn't know what I was doing, or it wasn't good as I thought it was." But when you finally get that first person to be like, and your family always gonna be like, "Yeah, you're great.
mm,
You got the best stories in the world." He's like, "Yeah, I know you're gonna say it because I'm my family." But
right.
when you have somebody that you don't know come up to you or see your message on TikTok or um, Amazon and leave a good rating, then that kind of gives you that that uh that that feeling like, okay, I got something.
For
Now
sure.
it's just going out there and going on platforms like this, or even with TikTok, just putting it out there and having people respond to it, and putting other people on and stuff like that. So just being recognized, even though even if one person ever read my book and was like, "This is a great book," I'm fine, because I got it out there. It's my story, and nobody else can say it's theirs. I take it from them, and I put it out there, and it's out there in the world now. So I have something to say I contributed to the world.
No doubt. No doubt. Okay, give your readers and the viewers a brief synopsis of High Tide Part 2, Blood in the Water.
All right, so here we go. Pretty much now, from the story, we have a lawyer in a small backwater town in Mississippi, deep in the woods, where pretty much the town is run on who you know and what you know, and the more that you kind of try and resist the corruption, the more they kind of try to bury you in it. So we have Justin Harper, which is the attorney, the lead character, and he gets introduced to the female male character, which is Jezebel Jennings, who was the mayor's mistress, right? So the mayor gets murdered. Runs away pretty much, and she decided to come back because she wants to, get the story from being, oh well, she must have did it. She ran off when he got killed, and we knew he had a mistress, so she must have been the one to do it. So she comes back to clear her name, and she realizes that the only other person that kind of really can kind of help her is this guy named Justin Harper, who has been, one of the only people in town who kind of resisted the corruption and the money and the old security from the old town. So they eventually get together. Then we have the protagonist, which is the district attorney, and he is, he's one of the people that kind of has a smile on your face, but watch your back when you're around them, type of attitudes. So he finds out that the girl is back in town and she has some secrets that kind of that puts him in a bad light. So he kind of tries to get rid of her. He finds out that she's working with the lawyer. He comes pays a visit to the lawyer. Old Southern Charm trying to wheel and deal with him, and he realizes he's not going for it. So he kind of starts to up the ante, like to get kind of physical. Then when we have a scene where Justin kind of he breaks down because he has his children that he's trying to protect, himself he's trying to protect, and he also has this lady that just kind of came into his life, and has brought all the drama in his life, and he in a human moment, he has a moment where he goes to his mom's house and he's telling her, "I'm trying to fight the good fight. I'm trying to do this, legal way." And everybody else is operating outside the boundaries and without immunity and everything. So she's like, "Well, I got somebody who you can call that, if because sometimes now you gotta fight, You gotta take the gloves off now, baby. You can't. It's playtime is over with. So
Right.
You bring that into Don Harper comes in, starts getting people to talk who wouldn't talk before, by a certain means, and they go in, they get into where they put now instead of them playing defense, now they're playing offense and putting the pressure on Bobby McLaughlin, which is the district attorney. And pretty much they find out, where the shell companies are, who he's dealing with, and they kind of shut that down. And then at the end of that, they meet in the warehouse and they flip the table. They flip the table on Bobby because they didn't cut off all his connections. So he's like, "Yeah, man, if anything happened to me, this person's gonna come through." So he said, it was like, "Really, call him." So I was called, nobody answers. And my favorite part is when, he was like, "Y'all can't do nothing to me." And, he said, "Y'all been playing checkers. This is a chess game. Y'all been playing checkers. I've been playing chess all the time." So then Jezebel, her line at the end of it is, "Well, the queen is the most important part on the chessboard," and shoots him.
There it is. Y'all check out Don, man, because he definitely got something to say. Hey, yo, we've come to the end of another episode of Our Own Thing podcast. And I'd like to thank my guest, Don Watts, for coming through to chop it up with me. Hey, yo, share your social media handle with the ones who want to follow you or check out your work, partner.
All right, on TikTok, it's Don Watts, and they like the little book emoji and author. Facebook is Don Watts as well. And that's pretty much all that I have right now. I mean, I'm working on a Discord as well, and that's it. I'm just still trying to get my job forms and all that stuff up and running. So when that's going, I put that on Facebook or put that on TikTok and have the forms available. So
Okay. Before we get out of here, partner, let them know what you got coming up in the near future.
Like we said earlier, Don Harper has his own series coming out. I also have another. I told part 3 is in the works as well. Getting ready to get with my narrator and see if what her schedule looks like, and we'll go from there. Also have another one that I just started, promoting. It's called My Brother's Keeper. That one's going to be one, because it's based off of the biblical tale of Cain and Abel,
Okay.
but it's with an urban twist to it. So that I'm really excited about that one. So
There you have it. Y'all be on the lookout for that, man. Till next time, let's build.
yes, sir. Peace out.